What is up? A very, very exhausted GoodMicWork back at you extremely late on Friday night. It's actually early Saturday morning. Unfortunately, I was not home to watch NXT Dallas live. I'm so bummed out. It looked like it was a ton of fun on social media. I kept glancing at my phone, checking out Twitter to find out what people were saying about the show, and a lot of you were shitting your pants reacting to some of the matches that took place on this show. I could not wait to get home and watch it. I didn't even get home until 2 hours after the show ended, and then just spent the last 2 hours watching the show from start to finish, fast forwarding through very little of it. I watched pretty much the whole thing, and man, let me just tell you, WWE's got a tough act to follow come Sunday for WrestleMania, because this show was great. Let me just start off by commending NXT for what a great job they do putting on these shows. I love what they do because at the end of the shows, it literally leaves you wanting more. And I've always said during the Attitude Era, during the Monday Night Wars, when wrestling was at its hottest time in the late 90s and early 2000s, what was great about those shows is when Raw would end, you couldn't wait until the next week's episode. That sure as hell isn't the case now. When Raw is over today, we're like, fuck, thank God it's finally over. The misery can end. And what NXT does so much better is it's not overdrawn out and it's not too long. I love the fact that it's 2 hours. It's more concentrated. You don't have a million different dumbass backstage segments and promos and announcers screwing around with flashcards and stuff like that. They just get right to the point. The commentary is much better because the announcers are actually calling the matches. The overall presentation of the product to me is so enjoyable to watch, and tonight's show was no different. There was some amazing matches, and one in particular that really took all of our breath away. So all in all, I got to give this show an A+. There were a few things about it that weren't, that great, and there was one thing in particular that really got the fans' panties in a bunch, but overall, I got to give this show high marks across the board. It was such a great way to kick off, I think, WrestleMania weekend, and tomorrow night, of course, we have the Hall of Fame. I still want to try to get up here tomorrow night with a very small reaction to the Hall of Fame. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to do that because I have a very busy night tomorrow night. And of course, keep following me on social media, like my Facebook page, and definitely follow me on Twitter at GoodMicWork. I've been very, very chatty about WrestleMania, and I've been tweeting things pretty much every day leading up to the show. Even got a retweet from Hulk Hogan today, which was kind of cool. But anyway, let's get into this pay-per-view first, and then I'll touch on Mick Foley's appearance on Stone Cold's podcast, and of course, a few other WrestleMania rumors and some late-breaking news going on regarding the big pay-per-view on Sunday. NXT Dallas, like I said, fucking amazing. These guys and gals in NXT should be very proud. I mean, they really have the fans' respect. They have everybody's respect. They go out there and they give it their all, and they tear the house down damn near every night. And tonight's show was awesome. We opened up with a tag team title match between champions, the Revival, who I don't know too much about, but I like their style. I like their gimmick. I like the fact that they're old school. They're from my old neck of the woods. I used to live in North Carolina. They both, I think, were born and raised there. They took on the team American Alpha, who I honestly don't know anything about, but was impressed by them. I liked the match, and American Alpha scored the win and won the NXT Tag Team titles, and I like their finish, actually, too. I pretty much like the whole match. Right now, the tag team division is much more enjoyable, if you ask me, watching it in NXT than anything WWE is doing. We finally got the in-ring debut of Austin Aries was up next. He took on Baron Corbin. Now, Baron Corbin attacked him when Regal introduced Austin Aries as the latest NXT free agent signing a few weeks back, or maybe even a couple months back by now. Seems like he's been there a while, but finally has his in-ring debut tonight. Good match. Austin Aries, of course, we all know what he can do. I like this Baron Corbin guy. I think he looks great. He looks like a young Undertaker to me, so I don't know what the WWE's plans for him are. He's been in NXT for a while now, too. He seems like a guy that they would be bringing up to the main roster pretty much at any time, you would think. But really cool to see Austin Aries there. I mean, this talent roster they have there is just unbelievable, and it would get a lot better in about an hour. Match of the night, obviously, easily went to Nakamura and Sami Zayn. That was some beautiful wrestling right there. A lot of people were tweeting me, wait till you get home and see this match, you are going to die. I was excited as hell for it. I cracked open an IPA and just sat back and enjoyed. And it was extremely entertaining. Everything that you guys told me it would be, it was. So happy Shinsuke Nakamura is in the WWE now. And when he first signed, or was rumored to sign, I took it upon myself to watch a few of his matches because I wasn't that familiar with him. I think I had heard of him and maybe seen him once or twice, but really didn't know too much about the guy. So I was impressed with what I saw, and I thought he could do some really fun things in NXT. And tonight's match was one hell of a debut for that guy. And it was cool for Sami Zayn, too, because he's on the main roster now, and you got to think that this is going to be the end for him in NXT. He's probably not going to be working too many more shows there. So for him to go out on his back like that and make his way up to the main roster on the WWE, I thought was a perfect way to go out. They're replacing his spot on the roster with somebody that's equally as good as him. And the handshake at the end, I was fine with it. It was a really hard-fought, hard-hitting match with a little bit of blood in this thing, too, with Nakamura's nose bleeding. It was brutal at times, and man, he can lay some kicks in. I would hate to be on the receiving end of one of those. That looks extremely unpleasant. I'm so glad Triple H goes after this international talent like this. I mean, this is never something you would see Vince McMahon doing back in the day. This NXT is a true gem, and it's the one bright spot in the giant turd that is the WWE right now. New NXT Women's Champion as well, Asuka defeated Bayley. Now, that was kind of expected, but I loved the crowd reaction when she finally, when Bayley finally passed out and the referee called for the bell. The crowd like oohed the way they did when Undertaker lost the streak to Brock Lesnar. So it was kind of a very eerie finish. I like Asuka a lot. I think she's badass and crazy and awesome, and she looks like she would be a freak in the sack. And Bayley, of course, everybody loves her. She is so beloved by everybody, which surprises me. I mean, the girl, she's cute as a button, and she can work, which is so wonderful to see. And she's got a great attitude, and I would never say anything bad about Bayley at all. But it amazes me that someone as similar to John Cena as she is so beloved by everybody that boos the shit out of John Cena. But anyway, I love the support she gets. I'm guessing now she'll probably get a rematch. And then maybe fall short to that, and then hopefully come up to the main roster, because there was some big news that broke in the last day or two about the WWE's Divas division. They are finally going to retire the word or the term diva, apparently, and go back to calling the title the women's title, and that's the way it should be. If they actually do that, that's going to be really nice. I've always thought that dumb-looking Divas butterfly belt bullshit that they do is an insult to women, and it's an insult to wrestling fans. And now that the WWE has finally got their shit together with their women's division, it needs to be treated with respect. And if this story is true, I could not be more happy. So having Bayley come up to the main roster now with this whole new identity of the women's division seems necessary, and I can't wait for her to get there. And how about the reaction for Bobby Roode? Oh man, I love the way they showed him in the crowd right before the main event. I think they were showing the video package of Balor and Joe. The lights were out, and then they came back on, and that crowd let out the most chilling pop I think I've heard in a long time. That was great. Everybody knows who Bobby Roode is. Great to see him there. Like I said earlier, this talent, unbelievable. Why would anybody even go to TNA at this point? I mean, NXT is the place to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Young is right behind him. And, you know, when you just look on paper, when you just start listing some of this young international talent that the WWE has signed in the last couple of years, you know, under Triple H's, you know, vision kind of thing, it's a who's who. And, of course, the main event, very good, but not without controversy. Finn Balor defending the NXT title against Samoa Joe. A lot of people thought Finn Balor might drop the belt and his Bullet Club buddies from Japan might be making an appearance in this match. That did not happen. Biggest thing to happen, though, was right off the bat, Samoa Joe got cut badly right around his eye. I don't know if it was above his eye or below his eye, but he was bleeding very, very badly, and of course WWE freaks out. You had doctors down there, they had towels, they kept trying to go up to him and wipe the blood off his face. A couple times he shoved him away. The fans were pissed off. We even got a fuck PG chant, which that just gave me goosebumps. I was like, hell yes, crowd. You talk about a chant that's necessary and awesome all at the same time. That was the perfect chant. Fuck PG is right. Give me a break. Will you guys fucking relax? Samoa Joe is not dying. He's bled a hell of a lot worse than this before. I don't care if your advertisers don't like it. I don't care if you try not to have blood. The best you can do is try not to have blood. You can't just not have it. That's impossible. It's fucking wrestling, and sometimes you're going to get cut open or you're going to get busted open hard way. And the fact that they go so crazy and they freak out and they're like in panic mode if somebody just starts bleeding a little bit is goddamn ridiculous. I think your advertisers will understand that this is a combat form of entertainment. Accidents are going to happen. The best you can do is just tell your people that you're going to try not to have any blood or you're never going to bleed on purpose. But that doesn't mean you're not going to see blood. So sometimes WWE lets it fly or lets it slide with Triple H or Brock Lesnar or guys like that. For some reason they can bleed, but the minute Samoa Joe gets busted open, you know, they start losing their minds over it. If they just would have kept their asses out of it, it could have really helped the match because it killed the momentum and it was pissing the fans off and it was just fucking stupid. It's on their own WWE network. It's not like this is on the USA network at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. This is late evening on a Friday night on the internet. You know, what's the big deal if there's a little fucking blood? really pisses me off, and I just wish that if they're going to be PG and they're going to try to be no blood or anti-blood, they at least don't freak out when blood accidentally happens. Don't give me that we were concerned for Joe's safety. He was fine. You would have been able to tell if the cut was bad enough to where, his health or his safety was on the line, and I think Joe would know that too. Those two guys in the ring, believe it or not, WWE are professionals, and they're not going to put themselves on the line like that. They would know what to do. They'd call an audible. They would deal with it if one of them couldn't go anymore. That's their fucking job, so keep your stupid faces and your stupid towels out of these matches. End of the day, we got no interference. We got a straight-up clean victory by Finn Balor. And the finish, the finish has a special place in my heart. Reminds me of Bret Hart and Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8. Reminds me of Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin at Survivor Series 1996. Despite the fact that the WWE were idiots when Samoa Joe was bleeding, I thought the match was still good, and I'm not going to shit on it. A lot of fans didn't like it or thought it was the worst match of the night. It might have been, but still, very good match between two pros for the NXT's grand prize. And, part of me was kind of hoping Joe would win too, because I'm ready to see Balor on the main roster at some point. I thought the night after WrestleMania could be one big debut for somebody in NXT coming up to the main roster, so maybe that somebody is Samoa Joe now. I don't know. Raw could potentially look a lot different on Monday night because, of course, the Shane McMahon and Undertaker match is for control of Raw. Now, another rumor that broke a couple of days ago is that WWE might be thinking of putting this match on last. That is something I did not even take into consideration. Here I was during my WrestleMania predictions saying, you know what, WWE can't be this stupid to close out their show with Roman Reigns winning the WWE title and celebrating. They're going to sabotage their own pay-per-view, and it's going to be a complete disaster. So they're going to have to turn him heel. They have no choice but to turn him heel or to have Triple H retain. Otherwise, WrestleMania is going to be fucked. But WWE could say, you know what, let the fans boo. We just won't make the match the main event, and we'll put it in the middle of the card, and we'll let Shane and Taker be the main event. They might actually do that. That would be a big disappointment for me. I mean, no offense to Shane. Everybody loves Shane. I love Shane. But he's not even a wrestler, and now he's coming back after 7 years, and he's the boss's son, and you're going to give him the main event at WrestleMania? I mean, unless it's The Undertaker's last match, which apparently it very well could be if Shane wins, then yes, of course, Undertaker having his final encounter as the main event of a WrestleMania, hell yes. I mean, Shawn Michaels did. Undertaker definitely deserves to have that, but this match is kind of a strange setting for it. The whole thing is just weird. Shane McMahon and Undertaker, Hell in the Cell, and this Vince McMahon tie-in. I always thought The Undertaker's final match would be against an actual wrestler, somebody that he maybe has history with, or maybe a new guy or a young and up-and-comer, or another icon like Sting or something like that. So, I think WrestleMania still has a lot of unanswered questions, and now we don't even know what the main event will be. So if it does turn out to be Shane McMahon and The Undertaker in the main event, then you have to cancel my prediction of Roman Reigns turning heel, because I don't think that will happen. Roman Reigns turning heel should be a big enough thing to happen in the main event. I don't think they will do that in the middle of the card. So if Roman Reigns and Triple H do not main event, I see Roman Reigns winning the WWE title and not turning heel. That, I think, will suck, but WWE might do it. I also never mentioned the possibility of Sting interfering in this match. I talked about other guys like the Bullet Club and like Kurt Angle, but I never mentioned Sting. So if Undertaker is going to have one more match and so is Sting, these two guys could still have a chance, technically, to work together. I mean, it's a long shot, it's far-fetched, but maybe, just maybe, WWE will give us that one legendary match that we never got, and that could all be set up at WrestleMania. So there's lots of possibilities in this match, but I thought learning the fact that it might go on last was a shocker for me, and just adds that much more excitement and mystique to WrestleMania. I don't know what the hell we're going to see. Finally, before I get out of here, I did check out Mick Foley's appearance on the Stone Cold podcast that aired on the WWE Network on Thursday. I really liked it. It came live from WrestleMania Access or WrestleMania Week or whatever. They did it in front of an audience, complete with entrances and the whole deal. Nothing earth-shattering, of course, coming out of this podcast. Foley was already on Austin's podcast maybe like a month or so ago, or a few months ago. I remember listening to that. I didn't think they were going to get into too many controversial topics in this episode or really tell us anything that we didn't already know or stories we haven't already heard. A lot of it was just the same stuff, but still really entertaining. I mean, these two guys go way back. They're really, really good friends, and they had a really nice exchange, and Mick Foley did share some fun stories, most all of which I've heard before, but always nice to hear him again. He brought his daughter out, and wow, look at Noelle. I mean, I almost feel guilty being attracted to her. She is just a tall, beautiful thing. She has grown up to be quite a gorgeous woman. I could spread her on a cracker. Mick Foley should be proud. He's got a beautiful family. I can't believe that little girl in Beyond the Mat has grown up to be such a beautiful woman. But she's like 23 or 24 years old now. They're going to be doing a reality type show on the WWE Network this summer called Holy Foley. It's going to be with her and her dad. I don't know if it's going to contain more Foley family members than that, or it's going to be a Hogan Knows Best kind of thing. I'm not sure really what they're going to do. They didn't give too much information on it, but it is a new series coming to the WWE Network. And isn't Dewey like on the creative team now or something? So there's a lot of Foleys in the WWE right now. I loved hearing that he was doing DDP yoga as well. Good for him. I have been putting off ordering DDP yoga for the longest time, and I think I just need to suck it up and buy it. I've heard so many great things about it, and I'm ready to try it myself. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. That's just my thoughts in a nutshell on NXT TakeOver. Great show. Really looking forward to the Hall of Fame tomorrow night. If I do come up and give a reaction on it, I don't expect that video to be any longer than maybe 10 minutes long or whatever. But please, if you don't hear from me tomorrow night, remember to follow me on Twitter all day Sunday. I will be tweeting from sun up to sundown. I am really looking forward to WrestleMania Sunday. I have cleared my schedule, and I'm going to be wide open with some of my favorite frosty beverages in my most comfortable chair and about, 4 computers going between multiple feeds of WrestleMania and all the social media sites as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun day, and it is getting close. So happy WrestleMania week to everybody. I will catch you, like I said, hopefully later tonight with a Hall of Fame reaction. And if not, you will definitely hear me just a couple of hours after the WrestleMania pay-per-view itself. So you guys have a great night. Let me know what you thought of NXT Dallas and any other WrestleMania ideas, opinions, or rumors that you want to let me in on. I will talk to you in a few hours. Until then, peace.